Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, June 28th. We are looking at Window Trader's market profile of the ES and SPY. So, not a bad day for the bulls. We had initially started as consolidation in A and B period, only to go trend again in B period. And then again, once we took out the poor high, looked like we were going to attempt to have a triple distribution. However, we got something that we haven't had in a while, which is a pretty good liquidation break, not an inventory adjustment. The market broke from the day's high almost to the day's low in 2 time frames, but incredibly held the IB low. We took out both sides of the overnight, so that's 25 times this year, so that's 20.5% of the times we've done that. We end 10 wide. Righty ends 9 wide with a P shape, and they're now up in the daily. NQ, and wait, before I go any further, righty took back some of their trend day from yesterday, but held the last distribution. Remember, they were a triple distribution. NQ took back some of their trend day, but never got into the lower distribution. They end 9 wide. I actually took a long in NQ, which we'll go over, and why I took it in NQ as opposed to ES. And ES ends 10 wide. We took back 4 sets of single prints in ES. We took back 3.5 in SPY. So I had a good day. Another 23.5 points in ES, up 82 so far for the week. I took a long in A period above the opening. Once we got above the opening, thinking we were going to go get our 22 wide overnight POC, which we finally did. Made 3 points in A on a long. Then in B period, again with the ebb and flow, I took a long with the 1 time framing in the ebb and flow, and then I took a short, which I made 3.5 points on in B, as we were getting closer above the overnight POC towards the overnight high. We hadn't gotten it yet. Then I went long. Once we went trend, any pullback I was looking long. I had nice long in D, nice long C, nice long in D. Now, when F period got up here, I didn't think shorts was the play to go. We had one set. Now, if we had filled this set of single prints, I might have had a different thought process on that. But we held it. We had filled C's, but we held B's, and F popped pretty good. So at that point, I thought we might get some more legs to the upside. We were holding yesterday's trend day. We had a trend day going today. I didn't short it, but I also didn't long it up there. Okay, I did not long it up there at all. And then all of a sudden, when they started pulling back pretty good, I didn't know what. I wanted to see what they were going to do. Actually took a long above the opening the first time. It stopped there. Initially, I got 6 points out of it. And then when it went back down again, I said, I'm not going to touch it. Let's see what they really want to do. Now, it would have been another good risk-reward long against the day's low. But I was looking to see if we took out. Because we had the overnight low already, I figured we had a good chance of taking both IBs. And then I would have looked for a long below the day's low. So I didn't get back in. And then in J period, took a short a little bit to go back to our POC. Now, I was looking, when K period made us 8 wide, I was hoping K period had gotten away from the POC to look for a trade to go back to POC, whether it was from the lows or the highs. But that didn't happen in ES. L period opened and we got 9 wide right away. So once that happened, I said, let's look at NQ. Now NQ had some more things going for it as a buyer. They had overlapping a higher value. They had only the overnight high and the IB high. They had not seen their opening. So they opened up in L and didn't get their POC right away. So when it flushed, I'm like, that's a better risk reward long. And I made 20 points. I took a 2 lot at 6, right off the low. I think it was 65 or 68, right off the low. I sold them at 78. So I made 20 points. Well, really 10 points, but 20 total with the 2 lot. And then it continued going. because the odds of going back to POC, which was going to be at least K's low, if not back to where it was very good. So the reason I did that is because SPY already was 9 wide at that point. SPY and ES were 9 wide. NQ wasn't. So I thought the trade for NQ was a lot better to go back, especially since they had those other things going for them. Now, I don't trade NQ often, but on something like that, I see a setup like that, certainly worth taking, and I could have gotten a lot more out of it than I did. I mean, I got out of it at 78 or 80. I mean, look where it went. So, but again, that's the reason I took that trade. So I made 20 points in NQ aside from the 23 and change I made in ES. Somebody had asked me what's my win rate and my risk reward ratio and that. So I've said this before. Number one, my win rate is very high, but the P&L doesn't reflect it at times because, as you all know that have been following me on here for 3 years, I do take those hits sometimes that really hurt me. Again, nobody's fault but my own. Because I've been scalping so much, I don't keep any stats on like the risk reward aspect of the trade I take. I'm taking them based more off of what a destination reference point I think could quickly be gotten to, and using another reference point as my out. So the purpose of this room is clearly to teach. In fact, I said to the room, as K, this is always before it happens. You're never going to hear me say after the fact, well, I thought this would happen. No, we talk about it way beforehand. And I said in K, this was a perfect example, I want to see us get away to have a trade to go back to point of control. So when we didn't get that, I went over to NQ in K period and said, I'm going to focus on NQ now to see if we don't get it right away. And when L opened and pushed down, that was a beautiful trade. Again, being said before the fact because of and all the reasons why. That's what my room's about. That's all it's about. It's not about my trading. As far as destinations, upside is today's high of 437.34, and then we have last week's high of 438.37 and filling the gap at 438.97. Downside 435.68, 10 wide, and today's low of 434.41. And then you should have the rest from yesterday. In ES, downside is today's POC of 12.50, 10 wide, today's low of 99.25. And the upside is 30.25. So we missed that other daily high at 30.75 by only 2 ticks. And then just quickly on the chart, monthly, like we said 2 days ago in the month, very healthy as they've pushed right against this trend line from COVID lows earlier in the month. We'll see if we're able to get above that. Weekly is balance. It's a 3-week balance. They tested the downside out of the inside week, failed. We came within $1 of the last week's high and pulled back. And then on the daily, that's not right. Yeah, that's not right. So somebody printed something really wrong. Today's high in SPY is 437.44. Is that an omen that we're going to be trading up to 453.46? That's what they just showed up here. I'm keeping the daily in a 6-day balance for now, okay? So I'm going to have to change that on the chart. One other thing I wanted to show you quickly, and I know the video's a little long, but hopefully it's worth it. This is something the bulls have to worry about just a little bit. Now, N period does not alleviate it. We definitely had excess in F period. Excess ends one auction and begins another. Well, that began a $3 auction straight down to almost the lows. Now, they came back, but we never got back into the excess above E's high in regular trading hours. I don't care what N period is doing. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. So for your line in the sand tomorrow, it's the excess up here that the bulls need to take. And for the sellers, it's to take back the rest of yesterday's trend day. Thanks for the likes and subscribing. Enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.